was another guy in the draft that kept getting.
I'm trying to corner from Klein.
Welcome, everybody. It's Dynasty Wise, and we are live here at the awesome 11 Below Brewery. If you could come on down, come on down. It's a great place, great brews, good people. And, of course, Dynasty Wise is here. We're all here. It's me, Jeff, the face for not even podcasting. So
Jeff is the voice for podcasting.
yeah, I don't even have a voice for podcasting, but
You do have a voice for farmer market radio. I like it.
Farmer market.
Radio.
Tell me about some of the best produce and vegetables this weekend.
Well, you see, there's Sally Sue Sheep is going to win the Fantasy Sheep Challenge. I'm drafting her early.
Hey, we have our own Amish Dynasty Wise
Yeah,
guy
he's right
here.
there
He's the one
behind
to go
you.
to on all the farm reports.
But, hey, we want to welcome you. Thanks for being with us here on Facebook Live. Like I say, if you can come out, come on down. Let's introduce the cast of characters with me today. To my right, Chad, what's up?
How's it going, guys? I'm ready to do this.
Yes, we are. We'll be watching the Texans tonight. Right now we got Little League Baseball on. We're curious of their ages, but that's a whole different story. We got the great, you might recognize that voice from AM 790. We're proud to have him. To me, a legend in the radio already, although he's being very humble about it. And I'm propping him up because maybe he'll tell me a cool story later about some players again. But, hey, it's Jayson Braddock. Jason, nice to have you.
Hey, guys, I appreciate the invite. This is a very cool environment. First time I've been out here, and you guys got to come out here and check it out. Wonderful environment. Had a chance to speak with the owners earlier. Great guys. And if you get a chance to just speak with them and see where this came from, just a dream, and developed into this, now they have you guys podcasting out. It's a great atmosphere. I hope you're able to come out here and join us this evening and enjoy the broadcast that these guys are bringing to you as well. I want to tell you, if you're listening to this broadcast, watching this broadcast, and if you ever had a passion to work in sports, podcast, write, whatever it is, HoustonPreeminence.com is coming soon. That's HPTX.us for the shortcut. Email me at HoustonPreeminence@gmail.com and tell me why you want to work in sports. I want to try to help out Houston and Houstonians, bring them a product that we've never had here.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. I'm so glad you brought it up because it gives people opportunities. We took this step. This is our opportunity for Dynasty Wise. We took this step to do it. Now you're opening up a door for, other people, chase your dreams, even if small dreams, big dreams. Chase them. If you know sports, you've got knowledge, come over here. Email Jayson Braddock. Let him talk to you. He's a great guy. He's going to get something going here in Houston. Can't be beat. Fourth largest city. Great city. We love it. We love our Astros, even though Chad's wearing a Cleveland Indians cap.
I love my Indians.
Oh, yeah.
But down at the end, we have the master. It's Padu. What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Let's get in it, man. I am ready.
TM.
I am TM. I've been pumped up. I know it's preseason. There's a lot of stuff going on about it. I'm glad we're actually going to get it. It's back. I don't care what anyone says. Preseason still counts.
Yes.
And we're going to get into it more detail about how it applies to fantasy football, especially for us being a dynasty based and all that. We're excited about it, especially with not to be a homer, but we're really excited about the Texans and the Chiefs. We're kind of seeing it's been shaky and all that, but I'm pumped. Let's get in it, boys.
I tell you what, you've got to respect the Chiefs fans because they built the Seahawks Stadium. They got all these sound engineers out there to be the loudest, the loudest crowd and reach the highest decibels, and they become it. And then next week in 1950s era Aero Stadium, right? There's some 58 Chevys driving around there. They come and they beat the record. So I just give special props to you, any of you Chiefs fans checking us out. You guys got probably one of the best fan bases that I've seen. Down here in Texas, we like winners. You don't win, we're like, screw you, man.
Luckily, we have no Chiefs fans listening, so we can stick to Texans, I'm sure.
Technically, we have two that I know of.
Okay, two.
Well, we could also talk about that Toledo running back matchup tonight. Obviously, most people know the Kareem Hunt, and I doubt we see Kareem Hunt tonight. But on the other side of it, the guy who almost beat out Kareem Hunt his senior year to take the job, Terry Swanson. I'm very intrigued to see what these two guys put up out there on the field if we see Kareem Hunt, but mostly I want to see Terry Swanson. And it's very funny. If you go back and watch, compare the stats that Terry Swanson and Kareem Hunt both had as seniors. You'll be surprised at the numbers they put up. I want to say Kareem Hunt had 10 rushing touchdowns, where Terry Swanson had 14 rushing touchdowns. Similar competition, same school, both seniors. Terry Swanson's going to surprise some people. I don't want to say tonight. He will this season, and it could happen as soon as tonight.
Well, and speaking of Chiefs running backs, the forgotten man, Spencer Ware. Spencer
Nice.
Ware was a borderline top-of-the-line running back before he got hurt. Misses a season, in comes Kareem Hunt, and is a top running back. But, where does Spencer Ware fit back into this equation now that he's healthy and running the ball? Is it going to be a little more two-back system now, or is it just going to be Kareem Hunt all the way? Or
normally, if you see a two-back system, that talent level is going to have to run. That talent level is going to have to run very similar, parallel. But when you have a guy that's that number one guy like Kareem Hunt, that's a true three-down back that can do everything: pass, block, catch the ball out the backfield, run the ball. And then you got Spencer Ware. Yeah, I like Spencer Ware for what he is, but he's nowhere on that Kareem Hunt. So, no, I wouldn't see it. I'd still expect to see Kareem Hunt be that 70 to 80% touch back.
now, in a fantasy perspective,
Right.
what kind of diminish do you expect to see with a healthy Spencer Ware there, where he didn't really have a backup last year? He didn't have a second guy to lighten the load a little bit. Do his numbers dip a little bit, or does he stay at Kareem Hunt level? His rookie year.
No, here's the thing. Here's the big factor. What Kareem Hunt did last year, he did as a rookie. It wasn't expected. I don't see any let-up from Kareem Hunt. I don't see someone on that roster that I definitely think is going to take a bigger piece of the pie from him. Here's the big thing when it comes to fantasy football. When I talk about running backs and a new quarterback coming in with a mobile type of style, I always think back to Chris Johnson and how big of a difference it made when Vince Young was back there at quarterback as opposed to being Kerry Collins. I think it was like 40 extra yards a game rushing Chris Johnson was getting when you had the mobility of Vince Young. The defense had to respect it. Pat Holmes, I don't think any of us know what to expect from him this year. He could come out and live up to the hype, or he could come out and really struggle and throw 20-plus interceptions. But what we do know is you're going to have to respect his mobility, and due to having to respect that mobility, the speed of Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins' speed and ability, Demarcus Robinson's a guy that you need to remember.
I was going to bring Demarcus Robinson up. He's been looking great in training camp.
And Travis Kelce. So how are you going to stack 8 in a box against that running back, and especially with the mobility of Pat Mahomes? Jet sweeps, read options, you're screwed.
Well, and on the defensive side of the ball for the Chiefs, let Ron Parker go.
I thought that was
Marcus
the guy the
Peters.
Texans
Marcus
would pick
Peters
up.
is gone.
Yes.
That secondary is not what it was. So,
I
are we
refer to
looking
Marcus Peters as not Kevin Johnson, because that was the guy. I knew the Texans were going to pass on him. I had a top 5 grade on Marcus Peters. I say he'll be one of the top 5 corners in the NFL in a couple years. The talent was just out of this world. But we knew about the issues at Washington and all that. And so when he was on the board there for the Texans to come up in the first round, they took the safe route and got Kevin Johnson. A lot of people don't know this, though. The Texans also tried to trade back up in that draft to get a pass rusher, Bud Dupree, but couldn't get ahead of the Steelers. Steelers wouldn't trade
And
back.
some people are calling him Bust Dupree. So
He's got
the talent.
He's got
yes.
raw athletic ability. Give him 3 to 4 years. Listen, they said the same thing about Whitney Merciless. Pass rushers, it takes time for guys to take it to a whole nother level, especially if they have the raw athletic ability, but the technique is not there. And Bud Dupree, we all knew it was just all raw athletic ability.
Right.
But the power, the speed, the technique, the ability to set the edge, if it clicks with Bud Dupree, he could really see an uptick in his production.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sorry.
You bring up Whitney Merciless.
Sure.
Where do you see him and his role in this defense? Because he's kind of been up and down a little bit as far as what he's produced. He's looked like a monster sack-wise at times, and then he just looks to disappear at times. And he's surrounded on a team with J.J. Watt and Clowney and now Cunningham and McKinney. And, they're deep up front. Where do you see him fitting in terms of the pass rush guy?
Well, let me lead with this. I will say my dark horse for this year, if I'm taking a long shot odds at one of these preseason bets, for me, my dark horse is going to be Whitney Merciless to lead the Texans in sacks. I'm not betting. And J.J. Watt, I'm not betting against him, but I'm not going to bet on him.
It's hard to.
Right,
Either way.
yeah.
Does that make
Both
sense?
Very much so.
Absolutely. So, yes.
That guy down there cursed J.J. Watt.
I did not curse J.J. Watt. I did not, but I called it. I mean, it was
fans get a look at his face.
I called it. I mean, and nothing. Honestly, and this has nothing to do with J.J. Watt's character and who he is as a human being, because he's obviously proven himself. To me, the back surgery, I knew that. I'm not saying I don't think he's going to come back to full form. We're not going to see the same J.J. Watt.
I have no problem with you saying that.
I disagree.
I think as a pass rusher, he's absolutely right. I would add a caveat to that, though, and I say J.J. will still return, like he did last year, as one of the most dominant run defenders.
Yes, run defense.
Him
yes.
and DJ Reader, that and Jadeveon Clowney. Let me throw that out there. Those three on that defensive line, whether you're in a three-man front or whether you go an under concept, a four-man front, whatever you want to do, it's going to be almost impossible to get past those three with Bernardrick McKinney. And what I'm hearing is a Zach Cunningham with, 10, 15 pounds extra muscle?
He added muscle. He added like 10 pounds of muscle. But also, let me go back on the Chiefs side. A lot of good talk about Armani Watts at safety. So
Texans loved him in this draft.
Yeah.
Texans really loved him in this draft. They loved him. They loved the Texas kid, Deshaun Elliott. Yeah, absolutely. But I tell you, this year I had a lot going on, so this was the first year in over a decade I haven't been able to evaluate all the draft prospects, or at least the top 300, 350. And so I had to pick and choose. And when I heard about the interest in the Texans safety position, I went and I looked at those guys. I didn't hear about the interest in Justin Reed. So I didn't study him until after the draft. When I went and watched it, I knew why I didn't hear about the interest. There's no way in hell that kid should have been there in the third round.
No.
Still
That's a gift. That's a gift that the Texans got. Maybe it has something to do with his brother and the little protest.
Yes.
But which surprised me. That's why I didn't think the Texans would take Justin Reed because of his brother Eric Reed. But I'm like, well, hell, if you're going to take his brother, go sign Eric Reed. What the hell?
Well, his brother doesn't have that stigma around him. He was there in the third round, so at some point, I think it makes a football sense. Even Bill O'Brien and the front office would sign off on.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like you said, someone needs to be locked up because there was definitely some thievery and some theft going on, man.
And the Rankin pick for not as a tackle.
Hell was that?
I don't like Martinez Rankin as a tackle prospect. I know the Texans liked some of that in the evaluation.
I was surprised by that pick.
Bill
O'Brien.
O'Brien.
I really was.
I wasn't because he's so versatile, and it was obvious the Texans were going for versatility on that offensive line.
Bill O'Brien's always been versatility when it comes to
absolutely Xavier Su'a-Filo, and he's overvalued it over Jimmy Garoppolo. I didn't say it, but here's the thing.
No, I will say it. I said it then.
With Martinez Rankin, I think he can be an all-pro interior offensive lineman. But if they take him and push him outside, I think you screw with that guy like you did with Xavier Su'a-Filo.
Their offensive line needs help.
Well, tonight
it's still a work in progress.
I don't think it's that bad. If you're talking about they need help to be a top half of the league offensive line, I'll say yes, I agree. But with Deshaun's athletic ability and the guys they brought in, their size, their length, and all they finally got the pieces that Bill O'Brien wanted. Here's what was wrong with the blueprint in the past. This organization, Bill O'Brien, all them, they didn't know how to evaluate those college prospects who they thought could play multiple positions on the inside and outside on the offensive line. Well, this year they corrected that with Brian Gaine, and they decided, well, let's find guys like Senio Clemente that has played all 5 offensive line positions in the NFL and played at a quality level. The Texans' offensive line does not need to be a top 10, top 15 to be a Super Bowl contender.
Just be serviceable.
If they get to the 20th ranked offensive line, you're talking about a team that could contend for a Super Bowl with Deshaun.
And I can't argue it. I kind of go back to the Russell Wilson adage. Russell Wilson didn't have an offensive line. He was running because he had to.
Absolutely.
I want Watson to run because he wants to and because he's extending the play, not because he has to. I don't want him to be forced because that's what's going to lead to the injuries.
Right.
And I'm looking for longevity in this quarterback. I think that's what we all are as Texas fans, especially for the fantasy guys. A lot of these guys are drafting him early because of what he did. I mean, he was a high-producing quarterback last year before he went out.
Listen, if you want a fantasy thing that's going to tell your listeners never to invite me on with you again, I don't think you can draft Deshaun Watson too high. Listen, I know the fantasy rules.
Hold on. Save that take for our Texans homer guy to sit down.
Oh.
Okay, say it again, please.
All right. So where was I at?
You said do not take Deshaun Watson.
You can't take him. No, you can't take him too early.
Yeah,
is what he was saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying there's no possible, and I want you to understand clearly what I'm saying. People will boo you. They will tell you the stupidest fantasy drafter ever. You could get a quarterback late and all this. Yeah. I think when it's all said and done, I would not be surprised to see Deshaun Watson owners win 60% plus of their leagues this year. I think he could be that big of a difference maker. If he stays healthy 16 games, and I would roll the dice. When I say I would take him in the first round, I'm not taking him in the top 4, 6, 8 picks, but towards the late part of the first round, I absolutely would break the fantasy code and draft the quarterback early.
Right.
It just like what Jason's saying, and it ties into your scoring and all that. If it's
Absolutely.
4-point touchdown,
Absolutely. Great point.
there's some stuff that goes into that, and that's to add to it is it depends on your formations and the way you're going to develop your team. And I'm a big component on the fact that quarterbacks should be taken early because a lot of them do fall, but at the same token, if you go and get him when you want him, you got him.
How many people won their leagues a couple years ago when they stole Cam Newton?
I won with Aaron Rodgers because for me, my theory on taking a quarterback is if I draft one of the top quarterbacks, I don't have to worry about that position for the next 8-9 rounds. I'm set at that. I mean, no, people say, well, what about injuries? I'm like, well, what about injuries on any position? Right. But for me, I'm set. But hey, let's get some more. Let's tell people where we're at. Again, we're at 11 Below Brewery. Come on out. Join us. It's at 6820 Bourgeois Road. Not even going to tell you how to spell that, but it's pronounced Bourgeois. Houston, Texas, 77066. I'm not a drinker, but I love this place. It's just a great atmosphere. It's friendly. The owners are great. Come on out. Join us. Taste some. And like I say, I'm not a drinker, but I had one of their little brews, and it was actually pretty good.
I believe you had the Oso Bueno.
I had hipster sauce, and I hate anything to do with hipster, so it was a challenge for me to drink it. Yes, it was.
And we also got to give a shout-out to Infinity NDT, who actually sponsored our first little segment. Guys, but I appreciate that. They're doing some great things over there, man. They're top service and downhole inspection and rig inspection. All over Houston, they'll go to your spot, and I'll tell you what, they're in and out, man. Sometimes you may not like what they find, but they'll give it to you straight, and I love those guys over there. But, thanks again to Infinity NDT. Thank you, guys.
And, Jason, let's give out your website again for the people and tell them about the exciting thing you're doing.
Yeah, it's HoustonPreeminence.com. Google it. I mean, preeminence, I still can't spell it. But that's why we made a shortcut, the way to get to it, hptx.us. I don't have the date we're going to launch. We're going to make sure we take our time, get it right, so we're not going to force the issue. We've got some big announcements getting ready to come out over the next 2 weeks. Also in that time, we're interviewing multiple possible employees. And the bulk of these positions, with it being a new company, are people coming on as an apprenticeship, a type to learn, lean on some of the experts with the company, develop more on radio if you want to do podcasts or possibly sports talk radio and write. My view is to allow people like me, Houstonians that had a dream to work in the sports, that realized that there's no platform. I had to work 8 years for free before I made $1 in this business, and it was a passion for me. Well, if it was a passion for me, I'm sure that out of 6.5 million other people in greater Houston, there's other Houstonians with that passion as well. It would only be $5 a month, $50 for a year. When the subscription page comes up, I hope you'll contribute to it, support these young writers. We'll have everyone from entry level to experts. We hope that you support them, watch them grow, and I hope that this becomes like a minor league for major sites, that they'll come and pluck this talent, and we see a lot of Houstonians go on to live out their dreams. It can be you. Email me at HoustonPreeminence@gmail.com.
And preeminence, and what was the website again? I know it's shortened. What is it?
HPTX.us.
Okay. All right.
So you can remember it as Houston Preeminence, Texas.United States.
Right.
Remember it.
And we got Clayton here from the Amish Paradise.
Nice.
Him and his beer. He's either on. We can't figure out if he's still on his Ramadan or Rumspringer.
Well, I thought this was beer in all of these, but he was telling me he just got done churning all this butter. But he's well trained at night, though, on both hands.
Yeah.
Both.
Well,
yeah. 2 hands.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, all right. We're not going to go there, but
we probably will eventually.
We are.
As few as we. Oh, and I was told to watch myself tonight. Listen to these guys, but Clayton, being our Texans homer fan. Do you want to see Deshaun Watson play tonight, or just, hey, let's not take chances, let's put him in game 2?
Good question.
Thank you, Jason.
First of all, I don't think it's really a homer if you recognize talent.
Singer.
Houston bounce back.
Right.
That's
but
right.
no, I do want to see a little bit out of him just because it's been so while, such a long time. He's only played in 6 games last year. I want to see a series or 2. I mean, it's Deshaun Watson. That's where the excitement is.
I'm really curious to see how Sammy Coates is going to play for the. He again, kind of like we were talking earlier. Bud Dupree, he's got the raw talent. He's big. You can't coach big. Can't coach fast. But there's just something that's not making him a preeminent.
It's called hands.
Wide receiver.
Yeah, I would say it was his hands. They said he's been catching everything so far, but that's just training.
Because
camp
listen,
him and Will Fuller tried to dap each other up earlier in the offseason. They poked each other in the eye.
yeah.
Just kidding, guys. Just kidding.
My whole thing is though. They're saying again how great Braxton Miller looks. Well,
like
Braxton Miller is a great practice player, but he becomes Houdini and disappears on that field when it comes to be real game time.
I'm going to disagree with you. If y'all
Then
don't
get
mind me
off the
jumping
pot.
in.
No, I'm just
No,
kidding.
here's the thing. With Braxton Miller, my evaluation always was I had a third-round grade on him, and I said you draft him in the third round with the mindset that it's going to take 3 years to start getting that return on investment. This is the key year. This is the third year. The thing that was funny for me watching Braxton Miller, there's only one other guy I've ever seen run unorthodox routes like him, and it was Stevie Johnson. They were so unorthodox. If you remember when Revis was Revis Island, he shut down everyone except who the hell is this Stevie Johnson kid that lights up Darrell Revis every time? Well, the reason it was that way is because he ran what I call southpaw routes. It was just so unorthodox, technically trained, and solid corners couldn't stay with the method, and that's why he was able to beat the technique of Darrell Revis, where other guys that were technically better and more talented couldn't get past it.
And let's be somewhat, now I'm going to sound like the Texans homer here. When he played Andre Johnson, there was a safety over top. He even somewhat admitted that, even though his ego wouldn't let him. And here's my next Texans homer take, and you'll agree with me. D-Hop destroyed that island.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was
he
that
ended
game. It was just downhill from that, man. He destroyed it.
It went from Revis Island to Atlantis.
Yeah, yeah.
It
It got
He was
blown
taking
up by a
water.
volcano, and that volcano was called D-Hop.
And everybody brags about D-Hop now, but what I would say is that I don't think anybody. D-Hop was my number 2 wide receiver in that draft class. I had a mid-first round grade on him. Even and I think most people that liked him coming out, I don't think anyone expected this from D-Hop. D-Hop is legitimately in the conversation of the top 4 wide receivers in the world. I mean, we're talking Antonio Brown,
Yes.
Odell Beckham, Julio Jones when he's healthy. And DeAndre Hopkins. Out of all of those, what situation would you rather take over the Texans situation with D-Hop now on a contract for, 5 more years, if I'm not mistaken? 26 years old? It's in the book, and now you've got Deshaun Watson still for 4 more years under a rookie contract if you include the 5th-year option.
And
Exactly.
Don't forget, Hopkins spent 24-hour relationship with Iggy. So
He saw that post on social media. He's like, nah, I'm out of here.
He was with Manziel's girl after everything went down, right?
I'm not
I
sure
don't
about-
know.
That was a couple years ago.
Yeah, he's pretty quiet about all his off-field
I can't wait for
escapades.
Manziel to play in. Oh, never mind. He threw 4 interceptions in the CFL, so I'm just not a fan of those guys.
Here's another
You
guy
know.
right now, where we're at out here, and I'll let y'all give out
Oh,
the
sure.
address and everything, but where we're at out here at 11,
11 Below Brewery,
I was going to get the address. I was going to
Oh.
let you say. I know how much you struggled with it last
6820
drop it on
Bourgeois Road,
Bourgeois. All right, there
Houston,
we go.
Texas 77066.
But on this TV out here, though, they're showing, the Texas pregame, and they show Aaron Colvin. I think this is probably one of the most underrated additions to the Texans this entire offseason. I think this guy can play inside and out. I think he has ball skills. And when he came out, I do my draft evaluations a little bit different. If they have an injury, I still evaluate them when I put my rankings together where they would rank pre-injury if I don't think that injury is going to be catastrophic and end their career. Aaron Colvin, in that draft, he was my 22nd overall ranked player. This guy's got first-round talent. It was the injuries the only reason he fell down as far as he did. Jacksonville saw the talent, but when you already paid Boyer and you got Ramsey and you're paying
you're
the
losing
safeties,
somebody.
you got to let somebody go. The Texans stole one right here in Aaron Colvin. You combine him with Tyrann Mathieu, you got 2 of the best defensive back blitzers in the league mixed with some of the best pass rushers when Watt, Clowney, and Merciless is healthy.
I tell you what, it's fun to joke about old number 30, Johnson being out there.
Right.
I'm going to tell you this, though. That guy looks at a wide receiver on a deep route, he gets a flag. If they make up for the
Do you think he can still
non-call.
grow?
I think his rookie season, he looked legit, and then he fell into some bad juju. I guess he dated Iggy Azalea, and that's why D-Hop dumped her quickly, but allegedly. But I think he's right. They were showing him taking on D-Hop, and D-Hop won the battle, but he was there. It was just a great pass by Deshaun Watson.
Right.
But I tell you, and every team can say this about, and I believe every team has a guy that they can say this about. But Johnson last year, he's doing everything right, and he'll put a pinky on a receiver, but still be looking for the ball, and out comes a flag. And I mean, you can't beat the refs and the other team, especially in the NFL where the talent at that level is so high. I think he's going to have a better year this year.
That's another guy I wouldn't give up on, Kevin Johnson.
Yeah, he's still young, and his footwork and his mechanics, and he can stay with all the receivers.
Out of all the cornerbacks out there, he ranks up there right with the top cornerback prospects coming out of college. When he came out of Wake Forest with his route recognition, he knew where the receivers were going before himself. We all knew he was slight in frame, similar to Will Fuller, that you had to kind of be worried about injury history. As long as he can get over that injury bug, I think Kevin Johnson can still be a high contributor on this team and live up to that mid first round talent, man. Get mid first round return on investment.
Right. It's kind of weird. We try to make our fantasy football as close to the NFL as possible. That's why we do Dynasty, because it's kind of like, I don't want to do all this work to just have to do it again next year. I kind of like drafting rookies, and these are my guys. But that is the one thing you cannot duplicate in fantasy football is like, I'm going to take Kevin Johnson because he's going to get burned on 5 plays, but he's going to get 20 balls thrown his way. We're only like 5. So that's the one thing I love about fantasy football is when it comes to cornerbacks, you want the second or third guy on your team and not the main guy.
That's the key to anything in fantasy when you're finding out.